All right, so
I think we're ready.
we got ready? Okay. So since we have everybody, we will start the Franklin Special School District January the 11th meeting. As always, let's start with a moment of silence and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would join me in a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Drew, do we have a flag or are we just gonna roll with it?
No, Drew's got us taken care of.
Drew got us taken care of. All right, you would Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag
of the United
States of America
and to the
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, recognition of Good News Awards. I believe Mayor Moore has a School Board Appreciation Week to read to us.
I do, and thanks for the opportunity to be part of the meeting tonight. And this is something I always look forward to, and reading this proclamation and recognizing the great work that y'all do. So whereas an excellent public education system is vital to the quality of life of our communities and to the economic development of our state, and whereas school board members represent a tremendous resource as local decision makers and diligently work to overcome the challenges of a changing world while providing students with the services and opportunities needed for a quality education, and whereas school board members support and appreciate the efforts of students, educators, and administrators whose diligent efforts have led to Tennessee having the highest graduation rate on record. And whereas the men and women of our local school boards are elected by the people to make decisions most appropriate for their communities and deserve recognition and thanks for their countless hours of service to public education in Tennessee. Now, therefore, I, Dr. Ken Moore, Mayor of the City of Franklin, do hereby proclaim the week of January 24th to the 30th, 2021, School Board Appreciation Week. And I encourage all citizens to do the same. So thanks for the opportunity, and y'all enjoy the meeting tonight. And also I see there may be at least one football fan there, so.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more, Mayor Moore, than that we're trying to get us out of here early, but.
Yeah, I know you are. Well, thanks for what y'all do, and y'all do such great work. And Dr. Snowden, thank you for everything you do in our community and participating in everything, and everybody else on the board. And I see a guy there with a yellow tie on. He and I are the only ones who got the message to wear a colorful tie. So.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, sir. Good News Awards. Mr. Townsend, were you able to pull those up?
Absolutely.
All right, if you would, please, sir.
All right. Franklin Special School District Student Artist of the Month, Molly Moore, age 9, Poplar Grove Elementary School. Poplar Grove Elementary School, 4th grader Molly Moore is the FSSD Student Artist of the Month for January. Molly completed her Rainbow Connection Kermit in art teacher Mallory Hamby's class during a special areas collaboration study on Jim Henson, the puppeteer. Henson has been an inspiration this year because of his use of an art form to express emotions. Mrs. Hamby notes that Molly always works hard and was able to showcase her attention to detail as she clearly captured Kermit's positive personality. Molly's beautiful artwork will spread lots of love and cheer to FSSD employees who received a birthday card during the month of January. A special thank you to Sonic
Isn't that cute?
Drive-In for sponsoring the Student Artist of the Month program with a generous $15 gift card. Hopefully you can see picture there. Way to go, Molly. That's for January. All right, we also have one more, December. Poplar Grove Elementary School second grader, Gunnar Guidry, is the FSSD Student Artist of the Month for December. Gunnar completed his Happy Castle in an exercise of problem-solving skills that involved keeping his lines simple and his colors vivid. This technique has allowed his craftsmanship to shine. Mrs. Hanby says this castle is a good reputation of Gunnar, who is always thoughtful, focused, and eager to problem solve cheerfully. Gunnar's castle has brought a smile to the faces of all who celebrated a birthday and received a card with his artwork on it during the month of December. A special thank you to Sonic Drive-In for sponsoring the Student Artist of the Month program with a generous $15 gift card. Congratulations, Gunnar.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Thank you. Do you have the Sonic cards, or what did you do with them?
I have used the Sonic cards. I'm very sorry, Gunnar and Molly. No, I don't have those.
Okay.
I
You don't have
don't have
Sonic.
those.
Okay. We'll get those to them. Thank you, Mr. Townsend.
Absolutely.
All right. Reports, presentations, discussions. We have a Nook report from Miss Sarah Holt. You would unmute. There you go. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank the board and Dr. Snowden, first and foremost, just for your support of the Nook and what we do. We love the support that we get from the district, and it means so much to us. So I just want to give you just a little bit about what we've been doing since school started. The Nook has been very busy. We anticipated, just with everything, with school closing early last year and with the onset of COVID, that this would be a busy year for us, and it has proven to be so far. We started the year, we trained 5 new volunteers. And so we now have 23 volunteers on call. So that means we have 23 people that take time out of their day to serve our FSSD schools for the entire school day when they are on call. And they have been busy. So far this year, we have distributed 34 coats, 31 hoodies or sweatshirts, 220 pairs of pants, 231 shirts, 1,918 pairs of socks. And part of that was we participated in the 1-gen food distribution that was at Centennial High School before Thanksgiving. So that's where a lot of those sock distributions come from. We've distributed 69 pairs of shoes, 904 pairs of underwear, 25 food boxes, and 1-gen Away also supplies those for us. And so we're able to get food boxes to families that are in need within our district. We've supplied 18 deliveries to the PATH project at Franklin Estates. We have a volunteer every Tuesday that takes fresh food that is rescued by 1-gen Away and delivers that to that program. So kids get to take home fresh fruits and vegetables on once a week. And then we've also distributed 27 fuel cards to families that need fuel assistance and 501 boxes of feminine hygiene. In addition to this, we supply other hygiene items, toothbrushes, toothpaste, shampoo, soap, things like that on an as-needed basis when counselors and nurses request those. And we've also done 9 one-site referrals. And One Site is the nonprofit that we utilize since we are a 501c3 for children that need eyeglasses and are either uninsured or underinsured and aren't able to do that on their own. So that is what we've been up to this year. And that's all been since school started in August. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer, but we appreciate, like I said, the support of the district so much, because we wouldn't be able to do this without your support.
Well, thank you. It seems like y'all been up to quite a bit, and it's all been great and excellent work, and so very much appreciated by Franklin Special and also the community. And I know Alicia has a comment.
Sorry, I was trying to use my space bar to unmute and it didn't work. I do want to acknowledge Sarah for the job she's doing. it's big, and everybody who is involved with NUC as an officer, it's big, and it's all volunteering. And then we have been very fortunate to have volunteers on a daily basis delivering to the schools. It's such an impressive group of people, and I do want to thank you, Sarah, for all you're taking on this year.
All right, thank you again, Sarah. Appreciate all the work that you're doing with NUC. Teaching and learning, Ms. Decker.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. Tonight, the Teaching and Learning Spotlight will shine on the calendar creation process, the calendar, of course, for the district for 2021-22. And as you remember, on Saturday, I shared the two versions that are options which are being presented to you to vote on for 2021-22. And we also walked through the Williamson County approved calendar. And so tonight, I just have a very brief PowerPoint for the spotlight to share with you those steps that led to the creation of those two options. So I'm going to share my screen. Is everyone able to see that PowerPoint? All right. And of course, the calendar process in Franklin Special is all about the power of input and voice in decision making. That's very important to us. So we began by reviewing Tennessee Code Annotated and the protocols or norms for school calendar creation. And then back in October, the end of October, I sent an email to the first quarter Lunch and Learn or Discuss and Design participants. And as you'll probably recall, Lunch and Learn participants are a team of teachers, paraprofessionals, administrators, and once every quarter, there's a different team of Lunch and Learn participants that meet with Ms. Carlton, the curriculum and professional learning supervisor, and myself to discuss professional learning needs during the first and third quarters and curricular supports needs during the second quarter. So we draw from that list from the first quarter Lunch and Learn teams, and they become the calendar representatives. And in that email that I sent on October 28th, I asked for their help to gather feedback from the teams that they represent at each school regarding the 21-22 calendar. 75 individuals, as I mentioned earlier, teachers, paraprofessionals, school administrator representatives received this email. Out of those 75, 74 responded. It's a pretty nice response rate. Was very happy about that. I compiled the feedback from these calendar representatives with the assistance of Ms. Faith Maxwell and arranged the feedback into specific categories. Then a district team convened to review that feedback and create the two draft calendars. This district team met on November 19th, and you have a list there of who was included on that team: district administrators, school administrators, the technology secretary, database manager, Drew Bingham, Faith Maxwell, myself. That district team evaluated the feedback from the calendar reps to determine the top 4 areas which would guide the calendar creation. Also, the district team reviewed the Williamson County calendar, which had been approved on November 16th. So these were the top 4 areas to guide the planning for the 21-22 calendar. And we discussed these a little bit on Saturday: ensuring that fall break continues to be a full week, ensuring Thanksgiving break continues to be a full week, aligning with Williamson County Schools calendar, and including a winter break that is 2 full weeks. And on this slide, you'll see the number of representatives that chose each of these areas as their top priority. The 2 draft calendar options were created and revised by the district calendar committee Both of these options met the criteria I just shared with you that the calendar representatives gave to us. On December 8th, and as I wrote in my spotlight that you received in the board packet, this is where it became interesting, especially interesting, because we had never had this calendar representative meeting before via Zoom. And it was 59 individuals. That was quite a large meeting, as you can imagine, to go over the calendar feedback and the calendar options, but it went quite smoothly. There was not a single recommended change to either version 1 or version 2, either of the draft options for the calendar. As I also shared with you at the board retreat last weekend, the calendar reps voted to adopt version 1, 78%. And Ms. Bell, the other day you asked how many of those calendar reps were teachers. It was 51. And on this slide, we just have some history, and you're probably familiar with this because I know Dr. Stevens shared it in the past, of the student day differences between Williamson County and Franklin Special. And as we mentioned when we discussed this on Saturday as well, this is the first time in the history that we can recall that we do have a version 1, which is 0 days different from Williamson County. Version 2 is 2 days different.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Decker. Great presentation on Saturday and this evening. Are there any questions for Dr. Decker? Not, Dr. Esslinger.
Good evening, everyone. You have your monthly construction report in your board packet. We had a presentation Saturday with much of the same information, but I'll be glad to entertain any questions you may have regarding any of these ongoing projects we have.
Any questions for Dr. Esslinger? Okay. Ask Dr. Snowden to take item number 4.
Yeah, State of the District Annual Report for 2019 and 2020. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. As you know, we try to be as comprehensive as we can in stating what went on in the district for the previous school year. We normally don't have COVID or coronavirus, so that was a unique part of the year. But if you have any questions on that, we'll be glad to answer. I know it's quite a bit of reading to do, and if you've not had an opportunity to review that, I would encourage you to do so and then ask any questions that you might have. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Decker and the teaching and learning team, Dr. Esslinger and the finance administration team, and Ms. Reardon for their help in developing this district annual report. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. If you want to take the opportunity to unmute to speak to this next item, but like if each board member would like to, and also Dr. Decker and Dr. Snowden, just make a brief statement about the presentation we had from Mr. Young on Saturday. So if you want to just make a brief statement toward that, we'd appreciate it and like to hear your input.
Can I go first?
Yes, you can.
Okay. I really enjoyed having that discussion with such a varied group, and really I've had discussions similar to that, but it's been with my group, and it's been with a smaller group with similar backgrounds. So it was really nice to hear different perspectives from different positions in our district, and it was nice to hear a lot of people trying to look at it from kids' perspectives and thinking of how our children in our schools are experiencing some of these issues and situations. I was just pretty much always impressed with the people in FSSD, and I was Saturday.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll share. I thought it was a really good seminar or meeting, and I appreciated the breakout rooms where we could share a little bit with each other. And I also liked how DY kept bringing it back to, we're a school district, we're influencing thousands of students every year, and we need to keep these things in mind. So I thought that was good that he kept bringing it back to that. And it was good to hear, for me, even different people saying, well, here's what we do about that, and here's what we do about that. And I hope we'll follow up with sending all those things. I think he recommended we send a list to Dr. Decker of different things like Nook and our equity policy and different things we already have going. And then how do we build on that? So I thought that was all very positive.
Very well. Anyone else?
I'll share.
Well,
I like what Alicia shared. Looking at it from the kids' perspective really gave a lot of depth to our conversation. I really appreciated how engaged our group was, from responding via, answering in the chat or in our breakout sessions. We were there was a lot to converse about and a lot of vulnerability, and I really appreciated that. I think when he started off the conversation and asked us what we want for our school district, to have that sense of belonging and for everyone to feel welcomed, accepted, believed, protected, defended. I just, that really, I think set the bar at a high level of what, why we do what we do every day for all students, and why that is such a compelling part of our mission. And to have all of our leaders super engaged in that mission via our conversations and our vulnerability was amazing. I only wish other school districts would do this as well. I think they would really, really gain a lot of strides. And like he said, we're all on a continuum, on a journey, and some are a little further along than others. And I think we've been doing that before, but this just really took us to another level.
Thank
And I'll
you.
jump in and say this, that I too thought it was a very impactful session. I wish the whole country could go through a session like that. I do realize that in 3.5 hours, there was no thought that it would fix everything and we'd be able to flush out everything. So I'm sure we're gonna get together later and talk about next steps. I think it was a great first step. And I too think people were engaged and they spoke from the heart, and it was an exceptional session. Good job.
And I have a comment, Mr. Chairman. I found great value in the development workshop. Glad we held it. And as we continue to discuss diversity, equity, and inclusion within the district, I just want to make sure that our focus is broad enough to address the needs within our largest and our newest minority population, that's the Hispanic community. I want to make sure that we are genuinely within that community walking like we are talking.
It's a good point. Dr. Snowden, Dr. Decker. any comments?
I'd just like to echo or first of all, thank the board members and the leadership team for the great engagement. I thought it was very well received. I thought it was an excellent presentation, thought-provoking. So I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to next steps as well. And I'd like to also thank Dr. Decker again for her work in communicating and setting this up with Mr. Young.
Anything, Dr. Decker?
Yes, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. I just wanted to extend my thanks to the board and Dr. Snowden and Dr. Esslinger and our whole leadership team, as you've said earlier, for the engagement and the dedication to our work together. I have followed up just a bit with Mr. Derek Young. He was quite impressed with exactly what you've talked about. And this will not be the end all be all. There will be work to come, and I will definitely keep you all informed. Thank you so much.
I too was, when I saw that he could hold the attention of 45 people for 4 hours on a Zoom call, I was impressed already. I was that was great. I thought he did an excellent job. I thought he challenged us on several different levels there and in the future. And I think we need to stand up and accept those challenges and move forward as a school district, the leadership team, and all of us. I'd like to thank Dr. Snowden for allowing us and working with the board, Dr. Decker. I know Kevin Townsville is a friend of Mr. Young, so thank him for his input. But thank everybody. I thought we were, as a district, all who were involved on the call were very engaged. As soon as he said chat room, I mean, messages started coming in, and I think everybody was very eager. So I thought it was great, and I look forward to what we can do in the future with him and the district as we grow. Any other comments regarding Mr. Young? All right, thank you. Approval of the board agenda. Is there any changes or not? Is there a motion to accept?
Yes, sir. We have some changes, Mr.
Okay.
Chair. Have one deletion and 2 additions. I know that's normally not the case, but based on some work that we did at the retreat, we feel like that these are important. The deletion will be the policy revision sick leave 5.302. That's item number 4, first reading. That's being deleted. We're going to, in number 4 space, I would like to add a new policy. It's the COVID-19 sick leave, and that number would be 5.3023. And thanks for your discussion, your input at the work session regarding what you would like to see in this policy. And we normally don't do this, but since it's really important, I think, for us to, since the, as we discussed, the mandatory sick leave policy that was in place based on the federal government has expired as of end of December. It's important, I think, for us to have this policy in place as soon as possible. So I am going to request in that we waive, accept on first reading, waive second reading. The other item I would like to add to the agenda, again, based on some discussion that we had at the board retreat, and that'll be item number 11, is authorization for the executive committee to negotiate with willing sellers for a potential site for our transportation and maintenance facility. Those are the changes that we recommend, Mr. Chair.
All right. You heard the changes from Dr. Snowden. Is there a motion to approve with the changes that have been listed?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, motion, Ms. Townsville, second, Ms. Bell, all in favor?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Ms. Newman and second, Mr. Townsville. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Business before the board, Dr. Snowden.
Yes, first item is the audit reports for 2019 and 2020. Copies of both the annual financial report for the district and the individual schools activity funds have been presented for your review. Andy Matlock from Matlock Clements is here with us tonight to provide an overview of those audits and answer any questions that you may have about the reports. And we do recommend approval of those audit reports once the presentation is complete. Mr. Matlock?
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me to join. It's a bit different than normal, but I'm still happy to be with you guys. So I'll start with the internal school funds audit report. We issued our report dated September 17th. We issued a clean, unmodified opinion, which is the good kind, which you guys always get, but it's always good to get that every year. Your ending fund balance was 542,000 for your internal school funds. There was actually an increase of 34,000. Your revenues and expenditures were down versus fiscal year 19, obviously with the COVID related shutdown towards the end of school last year. I think your revenues and expenditures were down in excess of 200,000, but they tend to mirror each other. We know when it comes to internal school funds, because you take in the money and then you subsequently spend the money. So there was an increase of about $30,000, and I think that was a result we saw in several systems, that just having those funds and then everything shut down so abruptly, just not being able to spend those out. So I think that's where there was a slight increase in the internal school funds. But again, it was a clean opinion. On our end, performing the audit, we weren't able to get in and do some cafeteria procedures at the end of the school year. But other than that, we were able to do our summer testing. And I was even invited to attend a bookkeeper meeting early this fall. You know, even though they don't like me, they still ask me to come answer questions, which is good. And they always, they always have good questions. And I always think it's beneficial to be there and to be available to have those things. Even though we are the auditor, we try to be a building block and not someone that, you know, that refuses to answer questions or tries to give someone a hard time. But that's all I have on the internal school funds audit. If there are any questions on that one.
Questions for Mr. Matlock? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Matlock. We always appreciate working with you, and thank you for all you do for us. Dr. Snowden?
But that was just the school count.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, that was just the internal school funds audit. So we also issued the full board audit dated December 3rd, 2020. We issued a clean, unmodified opinion in that one as well. There are additional reports because it is a single audit with your federal funds. We issued clean, unmodified opinions on those compliance regarding the single audit nature as well. No material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies, non-compliance noted in those. Your ending net position was 27,693,000. That was an increase of 4.5 million from the previous year. And I think that was largely due to the payment of some bonds, the capital appreciation from 1999. Those were paid off during the year. And those were, I think, a little under 5 million. Revenues and expenditures pretty much kind of mirrored the previous year for the board, because I think a lot of things still had to function and kind of run, even though school wasn't in session. One thing to note, 2 of the funds, community service and the food service funds, incurred a deficit as of June 30 that was noted in the report. And also in the report, they had plans, and it was related to the COVID shutdown and having to still operate, but not being able to take in the funds. There were plans in the report for them to get back on the right track and correct those things. So if there are any questions on that, I'm happy to answer on that report as well.
All right, any questions for Mr. Matlock?
Thank you so much for the opportunity to work with you guys every year and to be a part of your district and all that you guys do.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right, Dr. Snowden?
Yes, we recommend approval of the audit presentation or audit reports as presented.
All right, a motion to approve?
Motion to approve both audits.
A second.
Bell, second, Ms. Barker, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Medlock. Calendar, Dr. Snowden.
Yes, thanks for the great discussion on the calendar at our retreat. Thanks to Dr. Decker for her presentation Saturday and as well today. We are recommending version 1 of the calendar, which has as already said multiple times, Saturday and tonight, that it matches day to day with Williamson County, and we have families that are in both the Franklin Special and Williamson County. So that's our recommendation.
All right, heard the recommendation. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve version 1.
Council. Second, Ms. Bell. Is there any further discussion? Not
just
all
wanted
in favor?
I
Hold
just
on.
wanted to ask Dr. Decker to thank everyone for their participation. I don't ever want to take that for granted.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, I will.
Thank you.
I want to say that as I said on Saturday, I'm really pleased that we've aligned it so well with Williamson County, but I'm not sure if we aligned with them or they aligned with us. They approved theirs before us, but we have a pretty good calendar process. So I'm really pleased that what we think is right and best for students is also what our sister district is doing as well. So.
And I would echo that. I think that what I see is a shift toward our policies and the decision to have a calendar similar to ours. So they might have approved theirs first, but they did it knowing exactly what we were going to do. So I'm glad they came aboard and figured out the right way to have a calendar.
All right, thank you, Mr. Townsend. That was a good echo. Seeing no more, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Snowden?
Yes, item number 3 is a new policy threat assessment team 3.204. This is the first reading. This is a new policy provided by TSBA, which has been tailored for our district. This policy aligns with Tennessee Code annotated 49.6.2701, which allows boards to create a threat assessment team. Our district has had this team in place for at least 2 years and maybe a little longer as an active part of our day-to-day operations. We recommend approval on first reading of this policy.
All right, heard it. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Ms. Newman, second, Ms. Barker. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes. Thank you. Dr. Snowden?
Yeah, item number 4, that's the one we changed, and we deleted the first reading that we were going to have, 5.302. And this is also the new item is COVID-19 sick leave, again, 5.3023. This allows employees up to 10 days of paid 2021 COVID-19 leave between January the 1st of this year and June 30th. If they're unable to work or telework because the employee is subject to a federal, state, or local quarantine or isolation, ordered related to COVID-19. Number 2 has been advised by a healthcare provider to self-quarantine related to COVID-19 or is experiencing COVID-19 symptoms and is seeking a medical diagnosis. This policy will expire on June 30th, 2021 if approved. We recommend, again, as I said earlier, when we added this agenda item, to approve first reading and waive second reading.
Okay, thank you. There's a motion on the floor to approve this on first reading and waive second reading. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Ms. Bell, Mr. Townsend, any discussion?
I do want to have some discussion and say this, that I hope people understood what the first version was a fine version. I think that our discussion on Saturday helped make an even better version. So I hope people who didn't see the first one don't think it didn't give days. It did. I think that this version is better. I think this version does not even consider what happened last semester. It's about this semester, these days were available. And I know I've got to say this because I'm about to vote on it. I say this even though my lovely wife Dot works as a paraprofessional. I don't see how this affects her. I'm not basing my vote on her. I'm very passionate about this because I think it takes care of our teachers and paraprofessionals in 2021. Even though there is no federal direction that we do this, I think it's the right thing. And I think that the previous version was an excellent try to help in 2021. What we have now today is an even better version of it. So I hope my colleagues will support me in voting for it.
I want to
Okay.
say something as well. I appreciate all that went into the first version of this. And I agree with Kevin. I think everyone just took it a step further with this. I think this is very fair, and I appreciate all the work that went into the revision.
Anyone else? Have a motion and a second?
Hey, Robert, I had a question.
Yeah.
Just looking at the agenda, is the policy that we had in the first semester now, is that just, that's obsolete because it ended on December 31st?
That is
So that-
correct.
Okay, and this is a new policy and it's not affecting our normal sick leave policy.
Exactly.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that because it's still, we have that FFCRA leave policy, but that would no longer be valid because it ended on December 31st.
Right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Again, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not, let's vote by signifying saying aye.
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 All right, thank you. Dr. Snowden?
Item number 5, policy revision procedural due process 6.302. This is also a first reading. This revision is part of the review of section 6 policy grouping referencing the TSBA model policies. It updates, highlights differences between corrective measures of minor and severe offenses and removes language that is duplicated in policy 6.317 student disciplinary hearing authority. And we also updated the references. We recommend approval of first reading.
Okay, you heard the policy. Is there a motion to approve?
I motion.
Ms. Barker, is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Newman, a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by raising your hand or saying aye.
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 Thank you. Dr. Snowden?
Item 6, the policy revision mission of suspended or expelled students 6.318. This is also a first reading. Updates to this policy or to clarify the last paragraph and to update references. We recommend approval of first reading.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ms. Newman, I will second. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Dr. Snowden?
Item number 7, policy revision promoting student welfare, 6.400. This is also a first reading. This revision request is to replace the following policies acting as an overview for health and welfare of our students. That's the guidance program 6.400, student health services 6.401, student psychological services 6.406, and student social services 6.407. The procedures and guiding principles in place for each heading in this policy will be moved to the procedures manual upon approval of this revision. Policy 6.401, 6.406, and 6.407 will be deleted if this is approved, and 6.400 will change names from guidance program to promoting student welfare. We recommend approval.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
is this a case where we can make a motion to approve and waive second?
Yes, you may. If
Okay,
you
I'd like to make that motion to approve and waive second.
I'll second it.
Townsend seconds. Any discussion? All right, you have a motion to wait first and approve on second, so no discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Dr. Snowden,
Item number 8 is a policy revision, physical examinations and immunization, 6.402. Also a first reading, updates to this policy, again, part of section 6 review, updating to current Tennessee code annotated language and references. We recommend approval.
okay. Motion to approve.
I'll
I
make a motion.
motion. I'll second.
Okay, Ms. Bell and Ms. Barker, that's a first and a second. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
There you go. Dr. Snowden,
Item number 9, policy revision, emergency contact information, 6.410. Also a first reading, updates to this policy, again, part of the section 6 review, updating the current Tennessee code annotated language and references. The administration recommends approval.
all right, their motion to approve. Make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Bell, any discussion? Seeing none, signify by saying aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Dr. Snowden,
Item 10, policy revision, students with disabilities, special education services, 6.500. This is also a first reading, updates to this policy, align it with state law. Language has been provided by TSBA as part of their review of board policies that are required by law. As an elementary and middle school district, placement of students in age-appropriate classrooms and settings is a procedure that is followed throughout our district. The administration recommends approval.
okay. You've heard the policy. Is there a motion to approve?
The motion.
Mr. Townsend, there a second?
I
Ms.
second.
Barker, any discussion? Seeing no discussion, please signify by raising your hand or saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Dr. Snowden,
Director of Schools report, update of monitoring of COVID-19 data spread. As you know, we continue to send out the report each week. Showing the,
excuse me, Dr. Snowden, were you gonna do 11? Was that somewhere
I'm
else?
sorry. Oh, excuse me. Thank you for interrupting. I'm not interrupting, but thanks for catching me from moving
All
on.
right.
I apologize. Authorization, item number 11 is authorization for executive committee to negotiate with willing sellers for a potential site for a transportation and maintenance facility. We all know that we haven't had a facility for quite some time. We have been using the area of Freedom Middle for office space, some for both transportation, maintenance, and parking our buses there. This increased construction, or the construction rather, for both the gymnasium and the Performing Arts Center, that creates some additional challenges. So I think having the opportunity to look for possibilities for potential sites for that is extremely important. I met with our attorney, Mr. Cagle, this morning, and he recommended the language for this this agenda item. So,
All right, heard the policy. Is there a motion to approve? And I think we discussed this Saturday at the workshop. There a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Ms. Bell, is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Barker, any discussion on this? All right.
Wait, I'm sorry, I just want to ask, this isn't a policy that we're voting on, is it? No, this is just a
No,
recommendation.
not a policy, just
Okay,
authorization for us to,
move forward.
yeah, for the
Okay, I
executive
thought you
committee.
said policy and I got confused.
And I may have, yeah,
Okay,
but if I do, I apologize.
that's okay, thanks.
Motion second, any other discussion? If you're in favor, signify by saying aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, now, Dr. Slogan, we're ready.
Okay, now I'll go back. I apologize. I have in my notes to go to number 11, but so I apologize. So as we were saying, we're going to continue to monitor. We continue to monitor daily our cases and our quarantines. Our goal is to try to keep schools open. Our folks, our teachers, our administrators, our students, our parents, everyone's cooperating to follow mitigation protocols, I think. And so we'll just continue doing that. I was on a call today. I know we discussed vaccines Saturday to some degree. Again, talking today, there's just going to be a limited number of vaccines available for each county. We did the estimated time that the state health is stating where teachers may be able to receive the vaccinations or have enough vaccines so that they can be vaccinated maybe the first part of March. So that's a little disappointing that they're just not coming in large enough numbers to do 1A and 1B. I may be incorrect in my numbers, but I think that's, but anyway, for our teachers, it's like going to be a little bit of a wait. We're still working through the process, our application to be a point of delivery in our school district, and we'll continue that process. Any questions related to that? Okay, thanks for your participation in the board retreat. We always appreciate the great discussions, and I thought even though we had a shorter time with the actual retreat items, I thought we had a lot of great discussions. So as always, thank you for giving up your time from your family on a Saturday to do this. School Board Appreciation Week in Tennessee, we will be honoring all of you in our schools this year, the week of January the 25th through the 29th. You will be receiving an invitation to an individual school to be honored and recognized for your service to the students and employees in the district. In recognition of your service, the school district will be donating a book to each of the media centers, Just Like a Mama, written by Alice Faye Duncan and illustrated by Charnel Pinckney Barlow for our K-4 schools, and Born Just Right by Jordan and Jen Lee Reeves for their 5 through 8 schools. So thank you again for all your support, your time, and your dedication that each of you devote to our schools and our district. It's disappointing to tell you that the FSSD Art Show at the Frisk Center for the Visual Arts has been canceled for this year. We always look forward to having our student artwork displayed there, but we understand, and we'll look forward to the spring of 2022 to have that process or have that opportunity for our students. Please submit your annual statement to the Ethics Commission. If you've not, the access to online filing is listed there for you in our agenda item with a deadline of January the 31st. And then you also have information on conferences and meetings. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Decker, anything else?
Nothing to add, sir.
All right, thank you. Mr. Esslinger, anything else?
Yes, we have some updates on our tax collections. Your packet contains our monthly HR and financial reports, but I wanted to bring to your attention our sales tax collections received in the month of December as a result of our local spending for September reflect a healthy 5.4% increase over the same time period a year ago, as well as our collections that we've already received in January for the spending of October show a 5.2% increase over the same time period last year. The next month, November is the big Christmas spending month. So we're looking forward to the comparisons of that as well. So that's good news for us. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, that is good news. Thank you. Board, any announcements, anything that needs to be said?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I could take a moment of personal privilege.
Yes, sir.
In addition to the individual losses that several board members have seen over the last couple of weeks, in November, the board lost someone who was very, very important to the district. And I would like to give special recognition to the fine work over the years that Pearl Bransford provided. She was a mentor to me. She put one idea in my head that has really stuck, and that is when you're thinking about anything within the district that you're voting on, two criteria, and only two, should be considered. Is it in the best interest of the child, of that child, or of children in general, and can the district afford it? So that was wisdom that Pearl passed along to several board members. And I remember the very first time I met Pearl, she was sitting in the floor of the gymnasium at Liberty Elementary, playing ball with kids. So that's how I'm going to remember Pearl. But let's keep the Bransford family in our thoughts and prayers.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Tim. And as we close, I will say the same. Pearl was certainly a personal friend of mine. As most of you know, she is who I replaced on the Franklin Special School Board in 2003. At the urging of herself, she said, I want you to replace me. And John Schroer, who was there at the time. So our community and the board owes a debt of gratitude for her input and her influence with the school district and the community. So thank you, Pearl. And prayers for Tim. We know he lost his mom and I lost my dad. So again, we thank you for all the prayers of the district, for keeping us in your prayers and just being there for us. It's harder when you're going through this period, but we knew you. I think Tim and I both knew you were with us. So we thank you for that. Is there anything else from the board? Now, Alicia, you're free to go and enjoy.
Hey, I'm a Buckeye fan, y'all. Go
Buckeye
Buckeyes.
fan, okay. Buckeye fan. All right.
All right.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
evening. We are dismissed. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.